think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. So one of the people who showed me this series when I was like 16, 17 was a friend of mine, same age, who'd always say that. Just like he made it a part of his personality. He would go, "Hello, welcome," and he'd also have that
just
like,
in general.
Yeah, to us,
wow.
to his friends. He also would do that salacious chrome ass laugh that Pierrot LaFou does in this.
Oh my god, that laugh. The maniac laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mike Horton. Hope you're out there listening to this podcast.
Yeah. How much of Batman the Animated Series have you watched in your life?
Probably, how many seasons was it?
I don't know. I guess 4 or 5, but I could look it up here. I'll look it up real quick.
I don't know. I feel like I've seen maybe just a handful of episodes, maybe a whole season.
It was on
Well, it didn't have
a
like
lot.
syndicated, so it had like 20 episodes a season.
Let's see how many. 4 seasons.
I definitely didn't watch all of it.
Okay. No.
To answer your
I
question.
couldn't. I mean, everybody knows Almost Got Him, right? Like that's the most famous of those episodes. But I remember when I first watched this episode, Pierrot LaFou, that the guy who introduced me to it was like, this is based on, like, the stylish comp is Batman the Animated Series. Like, this is an homage to that.
Not only that, dude. Did you know that Sunrise, the production company of Cowboy Bebop, worked on Batman the Animated Series?
That makes so much sense, actually, because that was a very good animation. Batman the Animated Series. Like, it was really good.
It's all about the stark details,
Yeah.
about the brutal, like not necessarily brutalist, but like kind of, what's the art style? Kind of like German expressionism, post-World War II kind of
This might be like
propaganda stuff.
a thing everybody knows, or it might also not be true. But I was always told Batman the Animated Series actually started with a black page and added white and color
White
to
to
it
it.
instead of the
Yeah.
other way around, which is a
'Cause he's
fascinating.
Batman.
Yeah,
He's the Dark Knight.
I'm sure they didn't do that for this, but
Nah.
I think it feels like it, and I think that's a kind of a cool touchstone for this episode. Actually,
Plus the Mad Clown or Mad Pierrot
Yeah.
is the
Feels like a Batman
he's like
villain.
an amalgam
Yeah.
of like the Joker and
The
the
Penguin.
Penguin and
Some
what
other
was
shit.
the other one that I read? There's like, because I don't know tons about Batman, but the Tally
Mhm.
Man apparently and his weapon artillery and stuff. Even V from Vendetta, I would say, with his top hat
Yeah, a
and
little bit.
whatnot.
yeah, I love those comps.
Mhm.
I completely agree.
And I think the Killing Joke has a invitation to I think the Joker invites Batman to a theme park.
Oh, really?
It's all
Perfect.
over it. Yeah,
That
it's
makes
all
it definitely feels like a Batman episode in that way. Like it's like, oh, we're getting into madness and to sort of cartoonish villain, not a villain who's
it's villain forward.
yeah.
Like the whole
And that's a
episode is
cool
not
thing
about Spike.
about it.
Yeah.
Right. It's actually not the first time we've done that. We had
Right.
an episode a pretty long time ago about this kid that wouldn't die. That I do want to reference later on for a particular thing that Jet says. But anyway, before we do any of that, we got to establish what planet is this. Mars is the answer to that. That's where this story takes place.
Mars is the
It's
answer to
Mars, where honestly all the crazy shit in this show happens on Mars.
It's because it's the most. We all moved from Earth to
Yeah,
Mars.
that's-
so all
that's
the
home now.
humans.
Yeah. This episode, as Abe, I think, so perfectly stated, does feel very villain forward. And in fact, our first glimpse into what this episode's about is a glimpse of him and how he flies like some perverse being there poster. Without moving his legs, flying, just standing tall, flying over the earth, murdering whoever he wills. That's who this man is. Dressed like a vaudevillain. Right? Like with a
Vaudevillain,
Renaissance
yeah.
fucking neck.
He's got an ascot
kerchief.
of some kind involved.
Yeah, he's if the shape of him is any guide, 450 pounds. I mean, pretty big dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's almost
classic clown type.
Yeah, he looks like he was inflated with air. And he has a smile with his teeth that makes me think any minute now they're gonna crack.
But also, they might be the strongest thing, like substance in the universe.
Yeah, the teeth might be made of adamantium.
Yeah,
he is a pure maniac. We start with him flying over buildings impossibly, landing like gently. That's the other thing.
POV
He has these incredible gentle landings and stuff. Like he's very artful in this terrible way. On a gang of standard thugs. Who he murders with his cane gun. He blasts them to pieces. It happens very quickly, and very elaborately at the same time. Somehow, like really seems to enjoy it.
I love they give little nuance of like he fired a lot in one part of the window because it's bulletproof to break it, and then we get the shot of the guy in the limo who's the Mark, the ISSP Mark.
Yeah,
it's like he's seemingly chaotic, but there's
strategy to
chaos.
him. That's correct.
It doesn't seem that way.
Yeah, there is a logic to him. In fact, a lot of things that feel like weird loose ends actually do tie up in this episode, which I kind of love about it. Meanwhile, Spike is playing pool wordlessly with some dude who he beats, and the guy just quits. The guy's like,
there's no dialogue. He just has a clink of ice.
Yeah,
in
Spike's
the drink.
like, here you go,
like,
buddy.
Good job.
Hope you liked how I 9-balled you right there, because he did.
I fucked you up.
The shots of the pool are fucking awesome. I made a video when I was 20 years old just of the pool shots because I loved them that much. That video has not survived, though. I'm grateful to say, Abe. So no one can check for it. Because it's not out there.
I'll find it.
No, you won't. Anyway, Spike, satisfied with having destroyed this man at pool, steps outside to see the very last moment of this murder. Right? And then he kind of locks eyes with this madman. And he sort of clocks immediately like, oh shit, I'm in actual danger. Right? Which is unusual for Spike. Normally Spike's like, oh, here comes a challenge. This time it's like, oh shit, I'm in danger. And so the guy starts shooting away at Spike. Spike dives to get out of the way. Manages to land 2 shots on this dude. And we find out, oh shit, he's bulletproof. Right? Yeah. His bullets bounce off him in a green haze, a force field.
They do such a good job of just the barrage of like painting like tactics. Like the whole Spike throws a piece of trash in one direction and shoots is so like, the way they show that
it's awesome.
With the POV where he's like distracted but not too distracted. Like everyone's like firing on all cylinders.
This is top-notch filmmaking in this in this series, I would argue, and we will talk about it later. Yeah, it's really good. Very, very good. I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to go through beat by beat every single battle thing that happens because most of this episode is battle. I'm going to try to hit the major beats. So the summary might be a little shorter this time, and I hope that's okay.
That's fine.
Once he realizes he has not killed Spike, he turns around and Spike heaves basically an exploding barrel at this man, shoots it, and it blows up.
Somehow found one in the scuffle.
It blows up. Somehow that doesn't kill this man. The man starts literally bicycle kicking Spike into the air.
So cool.
It is very cool. Shown in silhouette. It's awesome. Spike's getting his actual ass kicked here when suddenly a cat meows, freaking this man out. Right? Like this is like the bells for Venom and Spider-Man, right? It's that kind of thing. The cat freaks him out. Spike manages, this is actually when Spike finds the big propane tank and blows it up. Manages to get out of there. The man, of course, survives the explosion and somehow manages to wound Spike with a throwing knife. And Spike, feeling outmatched, tries to make an escape before the river. The man pulls out a grenade launching cane. Like he's got some real fucking crazy shit in that coat, right?
Yeah,
real crazy shit. Launches some grenade launchers, and we're like, okay, this is gonna be bad news. But Spike manages to barely escape, mummying himself for recuperation at the Bebop.
Oh, yeah, he's all bandaged up after this.
Barely survives it. Okay,
So Faye's taunting him, of course.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think she was pretty wounded by the last time this happened in the Ballad of Fallen Angels.
She ate his orange, though. That's fucked.
That was fucked. Before that happens, though, we get this other great cut where Jet is like facing away from his informant on a bridge somewhere, this guy named Bob.
Yeah.
And Bob's giving the classic noir rundown, like, your friend's in some deep shit here, Jet.
Yeah.
This one's gonna be bad, you know? And
he's a crazy man.
Yeah, and he asks, have you ever heard of Mad Pierrot? And Jet's expression is like, oh, everyone in the world has heard of this guy, apparently. So this villain, Mad Pierrot, is killing high-level ISSP directors because, as we'll come to learn in the episode, they experimented on him and made him an invulnerable bioweapon, and he's pretty pissed. He's pretty pissed about that, and he's going to exact revenge, so, you know, that's where this is going. But the ISSP doesn't want the general population to know about it, probably because if they just saw the way the man gets from place to place, they'd freak the fuck out. Just watching him fly without moving would really upset
frankly
anyone.
unstoppable, it seems.
This man is like Achilles on the battlefield. Like, there's nothing stopping
Terminator,
this guy.
Down to the red eyes.
Yes.
You know, like, it's crazy.
Yes, he's crazy. Spike, you know, is barely recovering, manages to get harassed by Faye, who is pretending she's not in love with him. And Lunkhead, yes, this is when the Lunkhead montage begins, where Faye gets
sexiest of the insults. You lunkhead.
You lunkhead. Meanwhile, Edward gets an email from it turns out it's from Mad Pierrot inviting Spike
Which
to
is
some
fucking
weird
hilarious,
ass
because
carnival.
imagine that dude like
Just
logging
typing an
into
email.
AOL. He's like, "Hi, little boy, I have a plan."
Can you imagine?
He's just cackling to himself.
It's so good. Anyway, I want to make sure I haven't skipped anything important. I'm looking at my notes here. I'm sorry. One thing Bob mentioned that I guess matters for the lore of this show is that Spike is literally the only person that's ever survived an encounter with
Which is funny because
Mad
they have
Pierrot.
all these accounts of like apparently all he does is smile, and then like
how would anyone know? Because
he
they're all
doesn't
dead.
talk.
Yeah,
he just kills it. It's like once again.
Yeah.
But
that's
they're
funny.
making a big deal out of the Spike is probably going to be assassinated because this guy doesn't allow anyone to go.
And I would argue the show's pretty successful in making it seem like I don't know how Spike's going to get out of this one. Right? It's pretty good at that this time.
The Pierrot is like, it's instantaneously within a day. He already has his email. He knows he's on the Bebop.
Yes.
Like, there's all this stuff that like the clown would have to do in order to like. The clown is off doing research.
Yeah, what is he up to? Is like watching him do all the stuff that's not murder would be quite an experience.
Which does kind of. There's a little bit of credulity problems here because they kind of expose by the end that he's more or less a child mentally.
Yeah, he's not intelligent enough to do some of this stuff.
But it doesn't seem like he's ever needed to use his intelligence. So it's be like, how did he know how to hack the Bebop?
That's fair.
Stuff?
I mean, that's a reasonable question. I prefer to really enjoy the idea of him figuring that out. That thrills me. Anyway, Edward gets this email. Spike's been invited to a party that's being held in the theme park Spaceland. Yeah. She wants to tell Spike, and Faye's like, don't do it, bro. Please don't do it, because, he's going to get himself killed. But of course, Spike's like, do what? And knows all about it and decides, actually, I guess I'm going to have to go there and kill this dude because I can't stand down for anything. He also makes this wisecrack about maybe this is the one where I won't come back.
Which he's literally going to do in 4 episodes, or 5 episodes.
But he acts as though that's an in joke. And he's like, just kidding. But would you miss me, Faye? And Faye, super wounded by that remark. Right? Pretty funny.
Lunkhead.
Yeah.
I mean, also...
Lunkhead, exactly.
That's a cry for help, no matter how you splice it.
That's right.
Like, even if he doesn't know it's a cry for help, it's a cry for help.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucked up. He's like, I'm just making jokes about killing myself.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's like,
but
no,
you
can't.
love it, Faye, and Faye's like, I kind of do love it.
It's like, get this man in therapy.
Yeah, they're both in some trouble. That may come to a head at some point later in the series, but for now, Spike's like, nah, I got to kill this maniac. So he flies into Spaceland. Spaceland is apparently a fully functional theme park
Abandoned.
with no one running it. Like it's nobody there
AI.
to flip a switch. Yeah, it's run by AI. And Spike, when he gets out of his ship, clearly hurt, but like is putting on a strong face. And what happens for the rest of the episode is one very long firefight.
Cool.
The firefight is excellent. The gunfighting happens everywhere. It's a mad haze of explosions and running into various surreal
All very
landscapes.
quick.
Yeah, it's all
Almost
very fast.
Satoshi Kon quick. You
Yes, it's very fast. Lots of quick cuts. Meanwhile, Jet has told Ed, "Hey, you got to hack ISSP." Right, which means now we're hacking, I guess, the highest level government thing there is. So Ed's like, no problem. It takes
No problem.
her a couple tries, but she does. When she does, we get kind of a video montage of this guy's backstory. And the backstory is pretty harrowing. Like, it's a lot of really well-made images showing a series of experiments until eventually they decided, okay, this guy's mentally regressed. We have to shut down the experiment. And because of that, we're going to basically chain him up in a basement for the rest of his life. And
because we can't let him out.
we can't let him out. He's too dangerous. But, you know, he can't also live because he's not mentally sound enough. So he stops in the middle of this montage and decides, how about I kill everyone? And we cut to the montage. The only other thing that bears mentioning about this montage is that while he's getting all these laser treatments and shots and everything else that's happening to him, there's a cat looking at him, and that cat seems to be enjoying it. There's nothing else I can say.
I actually think the cat is expressionless, and that's what's so haunting to him.
Okay. Evil-looking cat, though. Can we agree on that?
Evil-looking cat.
Mismatching eyes. Part of it.
Mismatching eyes, which is key.
It is
for
key.
the last beat.
I do want to spend some time talking about what this cat means.
Yeah.
So that perfect. Anyway, so cutting back to reality, this maniac who we now realize is basically a child, is blasting the entire theme park apart and so on. Manages to wound Spike yet again. He's been shot in the shoulder, and Spike pulls out his secret weapon. What is it? A knife.
A
tiny knife. This knife, for whatever reason, is so rudimentary that the force field doesn't block it. So he chucks the knife.
I think it's like Dune rules.
Yeah, it's Dune rules.
The slow.
Yes, that makes perfect sense.
It's like the shield is designed for ballistic speeds.
Not for knives. So this knife gets right through the force field. It hits Pierrot in the leg, and he starts screaming for his mother. Like, just can't handle it.
Mommy.
Never been in that much pain before, it appears. Mommy.
Yeah. Never been touched.
And there's a great moment, of course, where when they're exchanging gunfire, they draw on the image of the cat, right? Because, like, there's a cat noise that happens that freaks him out again, right? And
he threw him into a gift shop and spilled out a bunch of merch, and one of them was a cat.
That's right.
Cat. Yeah, so that gave him the time that he needed to throw the knife.
And there's this one moment where they intercut between the cat's eyes and Spike's eyes, implying there's a mismatching eye thing that we're going to get into, in episode 25, I guess. And Spike hits the knife. He's crying for mommy. As he's doing that, a gigantic Disney-esque mascot that's probably, let's be honest, 30 feet tall, crushes him to death by stepping on him.
Mega goofy.
Yeah, mega.
Yeah.
That's right.
Mega goofy.
Mega goofy.
Gawk. Yeah, he steps right on him.
And, essentially, once that happens, Jet phones Spike. He's like, Spike, all right, I know what we're up against, bro. I know what we're up against. And Spike's like, I don't need it anymore. And I also hate theme parks, and the show ends.
Yep.
What an episode.
Nice little bottle. I guess not a bottle episode, more of a monster of the week.
It's case of the week, but it's I think it's the most extreme in terms of combat, far and away.
Yeah, it's all just combat.
Yeah.
It's actually reminiscent of one of the first episodes that we had with the equivalent of dogfights, Asteroid
Yes,
Blues.
that one was great too for that.
That's like wall-to-wall dogfights. This is wall-to-wall gunfights.
Yeah, flying gunfights.
Which is cool, especially because we need that little taster before we jump into Syndicate stuff at the end of this. To be like, remember, Spike's good at the gun. We haven't really seen that since
It's been a little
Sympathy for the Devil,
Yeah.
or I guess really the most alarming where we're like, oh shit, Spike's really good at his job. Honestly, is episode 5 Ballad of Fallen Angels.
I do
like
think
he hasn't undone shit.
Yes.
And this is one where it's like he's on the back like every fucking time, scraping by because this guy's an unstoppable force.
I do think the main purpose of this for the larger narrative is just Spike is actually this badass. Like Spike can go toe to toe and survive with this thing.
With a monster.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's who he is. It's a
He's got
trading
all the tactics.
cards. Yeah.
He's got the speed.
Yeah.
He
Anyway,
can survive.
I think we've summarized it enough. It's time to push the sky.
Less is more. Less is more. I love how you kind of went through in the second fight where we kind of like bounce between like what his past is, and there's a little narrated sequence, but it's mostly silent, where it's like just the music that sounds like the Pink Floyd's On the Run kind of thing. That it's like, okay, this is what they genetically experimented on this guy. And his name, I think, may have been Tong Pu, but I don't know if that's like a name they gave him.
I don't remember where they got that from.
You don't know enough about the past.
Yeah.
And that itself is important enough to let you know Watanabe and company know exactly what to tell you and what you are satisfied by and what you aren't satisfied by. So it's like 1 minute and 30 seconds long. It's the perfect amount of like reveal, and the delivery system is very cool just to give you the Mad Clown's backstory. And it's shown in dreamlike snapshots, which was actually, I think that's why it's called what it's called. Pierre Le Fou is also a film by Jean-Luc Godard.
Yeah, I assumed.
And I've talked about several times Jean-Luc Godard being one of the main influences of the French New Wave, and how the French New Wave really influenced bebop. It's in every shot, every pillow shot, all the stuff. It's also, Godard was obsessed with dreams and memories. Watanabe also is obsessed with that kind of stuff. What's a waking memory is like a main theme of the last few episodes we're going to kind of get into. And one of the devices that the French New Wave kind of brought to the whole, probably wasn't Godard being the first one. I don't know the historical film history or the film history of this, but definitely brought it to the world stage, is making these films that would do this thing where it would be like, this character sees something and then flashes in their memory, like in a non-temporal way, a memory of something else. Kind of like seeing the cat that you saw that brings up this trauma. It's like those kinds of cuts. So there's probably something going on there. But in terms of how we dispel that information, first we learned that the Cloud was a part of the ISSP genetics project, because we see ISSP stuff on the wall. We see cells being manipulated. We see him in a padded room. Flashes back to memories of different kind of other times that he's hooked up to machines and stuff like that. Kind of what also, if we don't recall, Spike went through when his eye was fucked up. And they are also where or it was Syndicate in that case, doctors working on him and constructing, because he was a part of some kind of thing that we also don't know, some kind of Syndicate attempt to make better super soldiers. His stilted behavior, the fact that he's like a child, just not even done with explanation until like the last final bit of the narration at the end. You can just tell by him, like, he wants to party, he's laughing all the time, and when he's hurt, he falls apart because his brain has been so scrambled. Even Jet says, nothing as pure and cruel as children. Just kind of yada yada, or explain away the idea of this is why he's like this. He doesn't know anything else, he's a child, that's why he murders. He doesn't understand quite what he's doing. just the snapshots of the cat. We don't even need to know who the fuck, Bloomfeld is or who owns this fucking...
boy, would I like to. That fucking cat.
Yeah, who owns this cat? What's this cat's deal? Don't need to know. We just need to know it as an archetype and a moniker of, his fear. Breaking out of the facility, I love how you kind of pointed out. How cool is it when he just stops?
Yep, it's really good.
Close up of his eye, and his eye's like twitching.
It's really good.
And then he smiles for the first time, so that we've actually see. It's the first time he's the Mad Clown, and we can tell this is his breaking point. Jump cut to a different hallway, but there's blood everywhere. That's 2 shots that shows us everything we need to know about his backstory. We don't need to know that he broke out. I mean, there is a shot of him after walking out with like flames behind him, but it's like these things are archetypes, right? We don't need names. We don't need details. We get it.
I would argue these were pretty cutting edge at the time too. Like we've seen stuff that's like this a lot since.
Yeah, especially from comic books and stuff. Yeah, for sure. The less is more attitude really helps when you're trying to formulate an archetype or trying to formulate a basic form of something, a character that is this type XYZ. If you only want to choose 2 things, afraid of cats, indestructible, stuff like that, you don't want to show a lot. And I think that that's a really smart narrative choice by Bebop to do, just considering how they're like, we'd rather show you the gunfight and the past stuff. That can be 1 minute and 30 seconds. The rest of the episode, it doesn't matter. So that's what I liked about this episode.
Yeah. This episode doesn't have a thing that a lot of other Bebop episodes and many anime have, which is sort of the cut to the villain and they're imperturbable, or like somebody's talking to him and it's like, oh, this guy, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have the reaction shot at all.
Yeah.
Like you would get in almost any other version of this medium. And that's kind of interesting. What stood out to me this time, there's many things to say about it. We talked a lot about the Batman animated series aspect of it. To me, this is one of the fastest pieces of animation I've ever seen. The speed of things in this episode and the economy of things in this episode are staggering. It's also, at least to my, half-trained eyes, one of the most impressive uses of a 2-dimensional animated plane to communicate movement I've ever seen. It's way high up there, starting with the very beginning, where we actually get a Z-axis 3-dimensional movement over Holmes, and this is how we're introduced to the way this man flies, right? And that move alone, pretty tough to do. Kind of an expensive shot. And
kind of a 3D.
Yes.
We would do that by 3D if it was made even less than a decade later.
It might have been 3D, like rudimentary 3D. I don't know. Because they do some of it.
I don't think so.
But it's hard to do, and they took the challenge up right away to establish that's the kind of episode this is going to be. Right? This episode's going to come at you full force quickly and do the hardest things there are to do in animation. Like it's a celebration of the art form in that way. Abe talked about the quick cuts. There's tons of quick cuts. There's also tons of matching cuts. For instance, there's tons of times where there's Z-axis movement that's matched with the internet search stuff that Edward's doing. That kind of makes it feel like both pieces of the plot are flying ahead. It's the best incorporation of the internet, the way that they've chosen to visualize that in this series. This is the first time when it feels like both worlds are the same, in part because of the match cuts. Animation has a unique advantage that I feel like this show understands and others don't, which is you don't have to draw every frame. Right? Like you can decide how many frames there are to an action, right? And so a lot of times film, what they've done to speed things up is they've shot on less frames so that the action itself takes place over less frames and therefore feels faster. It's a thing that happens a lot in action sequences. Like they'll slow down the frame rate so that when you play it in 24 frames per second, it looks pretty fast, right?
Yeah.
This show, I think, has perfectly captured this particular episode, the minimum number of frames to clearly understand an action, but still have the action happen. Because there's tons and tons of times in the combat where what Pierre LeFou has done is actually a fairly complex action, and you know every piece of it, but it still happens much faster than it could ever happen in a film.
Yeah, we talked about this on the frame rate about Millennium Actress, where Satoshi Kon was like, live action isn't quick enough for me, because like there's this thing where he like throws it in someone's face and they get hit, and it's like because in animation I got to choose like what the insert is, and you can see the object that's coming at you, and then the impact of which, if I were to shoot that live action, even if with the cuts and speeding things up, it's just more frames than if I were to do basically the 3 pieces that I need, hold them for the minimum amount that like the audience can be like, oh, I get what's happening. And so you're just making like a leitmotif out of what's the story, tell it in 3 steps. Okay, move on. And they do stuff like that with like Pierre LeFou's legs, or the Mad Clown's legs of when he's kicking Spike. It's like his leg is down,
just zips really
and it zips
inhumanly
up,
fast,
and then it's back down. It's because it's like I want to decide the speed, and his speed is otherworldly as well.
There's there's lots and lots of examples of people using frame rate to communicate various things. Like another interesting example of this recently is the game Death Stranding 2. There's a character named Dollman, and in order to make Dollman creepy, they made Dollman on a different frame rate than the rest of the game. Yeah. Right? So it feels like he's missing steps, and it makes him feel creepy and doll-like. This episode is doing it in a way that I think a casual audience can't perceive, but the impact of it is, holy shit, this fight is brutal. It's fast and it's brutal.
When they show the water dance, when they show Spike's fighting, in other episodes, he gets more frames than everybody.
Yes, he does.
Because they want to show him
they slow him down, like the world he's in.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it's almost like they're doing advanced tactics. That's why it's fucking Spike up. He's like, I don't know how to fight this guy who's like on a different frame rate.
Also, if those of you who go back and rewatch this, you'll notice even during the drama stuff, like Faye sits down and talks to him while he's mummified or whatever, there's tons of moments where the actual action of it happens faster than it would in a different episode. Right?
They just sped everything up.
Yeah, this episode is continually telling you it's fast. This is fast and brutal. That's how it is. One last thing is completely unrelated to everything I've said. This episode has one of the most future-looking scores of any of the episodes. It's got stuff that's a lot more in what you might call the Zimmer zone, where there's like noises that are not necessarily musical.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I would, On the Run, which is the
there's some music in it. I'm not saying that there's none of it, but like, I think, again, showing you how these guys as artists are like very forward thinking. The way they chose to communicate the inner landscape of this mad clown, and also just the danger, is to take it out of a more musical space and into a more landscape as music space, which is a thing Hans Zimmer likes to do. And it's reminiscent of Dark Knight. Yeah,
man. Shall we go to the last section where we just talk about themes more?
Carrying that weight? Let's do it.
You know it, baby. Everything is designed to be masking. Everything is stillness, which is like you have to look at the haunting mask, and everything has a mask. Pierrot has a mismatch of Batman villains, as we talked about. The mascots are like faux Disneyland, and they're all like have masks. We can't see what's inside them. Even themselves, like what's inside them is typically robots. And it's like, that's foreign to us as well. It's all strange stuff inside things that are acting like human or like something you'd expect. And that's what the Mad Clown's thing
that's
is, right?
Interesting.
Because masks themselves by design, like the play acting archetypes, like the things, they're subs for something else. Masks are subs. Like Their design is to obscure what's behind so that you can keep the veil up. And Spike confronts these characters time after time again in this episode with his kind of cool, calm demeanor that in any other episode, especially previous to this, we'd be like, okay, you're the mysterious one because you're like expressionless, right?
Yeah.
But he's confronted with all these like haunting, stoic, almost mindless faces, including the cat. You know, the
cat,
observations about cats that you can't really see what's going on, right? Dogs
and
are
that they're evil.
Yeah, dogs are expressive eyes, but cats have killer eyes. They're like, what is that? That seems like
why
a
are you
machine
food?
To me.
Yes.
And I wonder if that fed into why the writers made him afraid or just like made the cat device to work. I understand that from a plot perspective, it's just like, you know, the cat is a marker of the trauma. But in those moments, that cat is expressionless. That cat is just staring, not eyes, not moving, just looking into the middle distance. And that's terrifying.
It feels like the cat from fucking Inspector Gadget or something, right?
Well,
like,
it's
like, or Gargamel's cat
in
Osriel.
Goldfinger or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an archetype in itself. This like evil syndicate that has like a leader or someone has a cat around. Even the cat itself, even though it's not white, it's the same type of breed. So once again, these archetypes, these stoic kind of masks. And I love that touch of like why it's a cat, because like what's the darkness afraid of? Well, possibly something else in the darkness, you know, like something that also is foreign to a human, like snakes and cats and such. I love that every child wants to go to Disneyland and see all these masks. It's a scripted, comfortable space, but the second that you make them robots, it becomes this haunting, like, you know, uncanny valley version of itself, which is why the tone of the theme song, like the theme music, is like dystonic and stuff
also
like that.
Also dangerous, because a dangerous
also very
version
dangerous.
of itself.
Yeah, it runs itself, but it the possibilities it'll step on children. Like, I don't know what this space is. It's unnatural is the point. And there's also cats everywhere, so it's funny that since that's the only thing that brings back his trauma, it's the kind of space that a child will want to go to, but because he's been unnaturally kind of traumatized in his past, even something beautiful like that, a mask designed for comfort, is not going to work for him. He's not made for this world. And I just think in the end, with all this masking stuff, when we think about what Spike is as a character, I think it's very interesting. Just because he's been doing it the whole show, it's who his character is. I'm not going to let you in. I'm going to keep you a kind of away. And it's like we are being shown specifically in this episode, this is not a sustainable life. You are being screamed at from both directions, both from last episode, Wild Horses, where people are lining up to help you, Spike. So you have this positive influence in the world and they want to give back. So you have salvation, but also on the other side of the coin, you have the mad clown who looks at anything and despairs because he's not right with the world. So it's not just the salvation side, but he's also being shown this other side, which is this is absolute oblivion. You choose to go down this path, it is oblivion. You're going to get stepped on by a mecha goofy. And I think that's
nightmare.
Once again, it makes this episode top tier, especially combined with Wild Horses, because it's like literally the masks that we put off, and the second that we take them off, it couldn't be more clear to Spike if he was just aware of it a little bit more, which way he should go with his life.
I completely agree. I think these episodes are bookends about Spike. I think they're both masquerading as Case of the Weeks, but what they're really doing is, as you said, giving us the parameters that Spike lives inside of. I completely agree with that, so I won't say more about it because you did it perfectly. I have a specific observation that is a little lighter-hearted, but I want everyone to know before I make this, I do think this episode is a masterpiece of animation and storytelling, so I'm not drifting off because I thought this episode was boring or something. It's just a funny little like relic of this episode that I wanted to bring up for Abe's enjoyment, which is this episode again reminds me that ultimately this is a show about people who are single and like don't want to live a life of any kind of commitment or attachment to other people, especially not children. Jet has this line, "Is there anything more pure or cruel than a child?" Which is sort of like the thesis of this character, right? Like that he gets reverted back in time. And it reminded me again of the other time that Spike was brought on to execute a child, which is that episode.
Speak Like a Child.
Yeah. And this show weirdly has this kind of manic mistrust of children where, number one, like you just don't see this in media very often, right? Like you don't see wily children who are also maybe not trustworthy, also maybe evil, right? Or that perspective.
I'd say that's a horror trope. Weapons just came out.
Yes.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
That's right. It exists
Shining.
in media that is in those genres. I completely agree.
Okay.
What's interesting is it's more dormant in this show, but it kind of pops out from time to time. And I don't think this show like wholeheartedly believes that or anything. I just think it's like an interesting artifact of who's making the show and who it's about, that children are essentially a burden or like sort of a problem that needs to be managed in one way or the other. Either it's by letting them finally grow the fuck up so they can get past this, or it's by putting them out of their misery, which happens more than once in this show.
Yeah.
You know,
stack
just
up
like
all the children.
Yeah. And I don't know what it means. There's probably some cultural artifact there. Like, I just know that you wouldn't see it in an animated show, even for adults, probably in America. You probably would not see that.
I feel like it's pretty straightforward, right?
You
like,
think so?
Yeah, like it's about childless people, people who have no children.
Yes.
They
How
are
do they
conducive
view
to
it?
that lifestyle. Bounty hunting
Yes.
is not a child. Now, it's the kind of thing that I'm not saying Watanabe is trying to make a normative claim about if you have a
No, I don't
child,
think
you'll
so
be
either.
happy or
Yeah.
anything like that. But it's specifically about people who themselves are stilted in their own kind of appropriate, like ownership of their own life. And you don't have a child unless you do already have ownership of your own life and the feeling of responsibility doesn't terrify you. This show has
That's
always
true.
been about people who are not refuse to enter the second act of their own life.
I think
And,
it's a lot harder for a child to be as static as these characters are when they start their journey. That's what makes Edward so interesting, that Edward is emotionally frozen and sort of feral, like basically doesn't need to doesn't have the needs a child has.
Also capable.
Yes.
It would be like the show would not work if Ed wasn't like, if Ed was like a normal child, which would be like, I need to be fed, I need stuff, you know, like,
right.
Because then if like Faye, who's gonna play mommy and daddy? Faye? Like, no.
Right.
Like Ed had to be like totally sustainable latchkey kid, you know.
Now, I don't remember the next episode very well, but don't we run into Jet has a relationship with a child of some kind?
Yes.
So like that'll be another interesting look at
How
does the
dynamic
show
works.
Yeah. And I don't think it's going to be some great master statement. I just think it's a funny artifact of the show about single people that they have such a negative view of what childhood is, and
I just think that they see it as unnatural. I don't think the show
agree.
is saying they are, but they
No,
don't
I think
perceive it. Yeah,
agreed.
the characters.
Now, I'll add to that, Spike's sometimes his job is to put people out of his misery. Like Spike is a kind of spiritual undertaker at times in this series, right? Like specifically, I think it was Waltz for Venus. Is that the name of the one with the kid where he has to kill him with a bullet that ages him or whatever it is?
Sympathy for the Devil?
There's more than one time where essentially his job is, I got to kill this guy so I can give him peace.
I'm the ferryman, yeah.
Right. And I would argue that's happening even here.
Yeah.
You know, like
you gotta die.
Yeah,
You
I'm
gotta
actually
die,
doing you
Tombu.
a favor. Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be part of what the unpleasantness of Spike's destiny is, in part, having to put people down, because he's the only person who can do that with a kind of compassion at times, really. It's both skill and compassion, So I just think that's an interesting thing to look at when we get into the finale of the show.
Look at Gren,
Yeah.
The
Gren
character
was
of Gren,
dying
where there's such a compassionate kind of release for when he died.
Yes.
Spike was like overwhelmed by it.
Well, and I think those of you who haven't watched the show but are watching along, I don't want to spoil it all for you, but not everyone's going to survive this show, particularly some secondary characters. And his relationship to those characters who don't survive, I think, also is a part of his destiny as an Undertaker, right? A person who kills people out of compassion. So just worth a note. I thought it was worth mentioning here. This show makes me want to watch some of Batman the Animated Series, believe it or not. A thing I haven't watched in 20 years, but I'm like, I kind of want to see it now.
Yeah, I mean, the frames are so good that you're like, that's tasty.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
The opener of this thing, I literally was like, whoa!
It's so good. Yeah,
it just rips so quickly, and and I love how he's just like stumbles upon this, and he's just like got a cigarette in his mouth, and he knows like I shouldn't have seen this, and I'm a killer.
Yes,
and I'm terrified.
So when I was young, this episode was like, this thing fucking rules. Yeah. Because the action itself is appealing.
It's so impressive.
Now that I'm older, the thing that really stuns me is it's still good on that level for me.
Yeah.
It's like, and I've seen, so much action
movies,
at this point.
Yeah.
And
it's just still better.
Really, really works. Yeah.
It's because it's so painfully. If you love that stuff, you got to check out some of the fight scenes in that Solo Leveling, dude. To talk about maintaining frame. There's like a series of shots in like one of I think the 6th episode of Solo Leveling, where there's a fight scene where if your eyes do not move from the center of the canvas for like seriously like 25 seconds, and like there's 80 cuts in that. Like it's going so fast, but it knows that you can get all the information if you just look at this section of the frame.
Draw your eye to this one spot.
Yeah, it's stuff like that I think that this show does in particular, which is why it sends it up to the elite tiers of fighting sequences, as well as Batman the Animated Series.
Which in film school they called that continuity of eye movement.
Yes, they do. And we're trained to obey it. And guess what?
Or break it.
Guess what? Majority of stuff being made right now doesn't give a fuck. Does not give a fuck.
I know.
Let's just shoot and over and shoot and over. Let's go.
That is why some of the more auteur filmmakers stand out, though.
Yeah,
because they still know that. Like I keep mentioning Fincher, and it's not because he makes my favorite movies. It's because he's clearly such a craftsman. He's really good at what are you looking at in the frame? Everything is designed around that. He has just a really strong intuitive sense of that.
Yep.
Anyway.
In animation of all of the, types, animation is the one that would be able to accomplish that with the most
control
gusto.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have absolute control over everything.
Yeah, except for money.
And
except for this mad clown.
Which cannot be stopped except by Goofy.
Yeah, I would not want to be kicked in the air so hard that I went up in the air even more.
Yeah, like I feel like his back is broken.
Experience. Yeah, that's not how I want to get kicked.
I also don't want to be kicked while someone's fucking laughing right in my face.
That makes it worse, right? Like how much he's laughing and enjoying it.
Yeah, he's taking so much pleasure out of ripping
just kill me.
Just absolutely housing my body. Just going to town like a wrecking ball.
Housing is the word I wanted to use.
Oh yeah, there. He's the mad clown after all. Well, that's long enough.
Had a fun time. Yeah, that's right.
You episodes 21 and 22.
Is that the Are we at the silly
21
cowboy
is
one
next.
yet?
The next episode will be Boogie Woogie Feng Shui. And
That's
then
Jet and the Child, right?
the one after that will be Cowboy Funk.
Yes.
But
Cowboy
then we
Funk.
only have a few. Then we only have 5 more. Because then we had 4 more. So
That's
Boogie
when it
Woogie
starts
Feng
to
Shui,
get awesome.
Cowboy Funk, and then we get Brain Scratch, which is the
Yep.
cult one,
Yep.
and Hard Luck Woman, which is
Yep.
the last Faye episode,
Yep.
and of course the 2-part 25 and 26, the real folk blues, where it all comes to pass.
I would argue the worst episode of this series is the Cowboy Funk one, but we'll see if I feel that way this
You're
time.
gonna see.
If but we'll,
it's definitely not one that's all about the bebop.
no, it's very
it's
silly.
about this other character.
Yeah.
And as I think we've mentioned in the past, but because I've seen more people ask this question in the comments, if you want to see our coverage on the film, Knocking on Heaven's Door, we do have something like that. There's a frame rate where Adam was the guest on, and Michael
didn't you
Swain
and
was
I
there
do
as
that?
well.
It was just you and me, right?
Yeah, I thought it was all 3 of us.
Okay.
We talk about that in particular.
Yeah.
Probably not going to revisit it. We'll probably move on to a different show, just letting everyone know that.
Yeah. Is it
but-
Mad Men, Abe? Are we going to move on to Mad Men?
I don't know, man.
I don't think about
We'll
you
have
at
to
all.
find
Abe.
something.
Yeah.
I think it should be another anime. I should force feed you
look at
anime
the,
until
look
you
at the
die.
glint in your eyes. Look how much joy you have feeding
gonna-
me the swill.
I will make you watch Free Run. You're going to love it. All right. With that thought of torture, we bid you adieu.